Hey everybody, Chad Taylor here with the Vegas Podcast, VP of Las Vegas. And today I am here with Joni Moss Graham. And if you ever thought about getting married in Las Vegas,
your human emotions and attachment, you feel for them, you see them, you see the happiness.
she'd be the one you want to contact, because I told you we would bring you those who know Las Vegas best. And if it comes to the wedding business, I promise you, Joni knows the wedding business in Las Vegas better than anybody I know. Joni,
Well, hello, Chad.
how are you today?
I'm good.
I got a question for you. So I got a little story before we start, because I want to tell the entire audience, obviously. I want to talk about weddings in Las Vegas, because right now, all of the posts online are getting destroyed that Vegas is dead. It's never coming back. And it's just all negative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not true. So I want to get into some of that about you. But I want to get to know Joni a little bit first. And before I ask those questions, do you remember how we met?
No. Oh, yes. Wait a minute. It just came to me. Yes, I do. Yes, because you were doing transportation.
That's right.
Yep. And we met through that, because we were working with that transportation company.
Do you recognize this picture?
Let's see. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. That was at our Christmas party.
Good memory,
Oh, with all
Joni.
of our team members, which you were there.
Which you invited me to,
Absolutely,
correct?
yep.
And if you noticed, I was in my Lake Mead apparel,
Yes, you were.
right?
Yes,
How
you were.
confusing. I'm going to invite Chad from the transportation company over, and he's wearing his Lake Mead gear. So I remember that event. I came across that picture, and I remember that event because that was the time that I literally fell in love with your personality and your character.
Wow. Okay.
You take care of your people so well. And I watched you do business and then got to hang around, and you take care of people so well. It amazes me. So if you take care of your team members the way that you take care of your clients, I understand why Las Vegas Wedding Connection is what it is.
Well, okay. Thank you.
Yes. So first of all, tell me, Joni, how did you get to Vegas? How did this all start?
Wow. Okay. So, So I'm going to start. I'll start from the. I'll leave some blanks, but
Okay.
we'll get through it. So, born and raised in Los Angeles. Parents were in entertainment business. So, as I progressed, and I thought I was going to be in the entertainment business, because when you're surrounded by a business in your family, that's where you're going to go.
Right.
Okay, so I said I went to travel school in Los Angeles. Okay, now take me out of high school, go to travel school.
Okay.
And the travel school, because you think you're going to go all over the place. What are you going to do? It's a good industry, right? I went to 2 years of West LA Airport College, and I got a degree in travel. Okay, and I was going to open a travel agency.
Okay, fair.
And then the last course in that whole process was about the bonds and securities that you need to open the agency, and this was in 1981. I graduated high school in 80.
Okay.
So 81, and all the money that we had, and I say we, my first husband and
Okay.
myself, we got married at 25. And that money was going to go to open a travel agency. However, if you had to put all that money into stocks and bonds for the agency, because you remember you had to have those tickets, the sliding tickets, the like credit card forms.
Yes.
That was a kind of ticket stock. So you had to put
Really?
bonds for that. So all the money we had would have had to go for that. So we
Wait,
said no.
This was the travel industry at that time.
Yeah.
You had to put up bonds to book travel for
to
people.
open a travel agency.
To open a travel agency.
Right. So
okay.
this money that's sitting here to say we're going to open a business
Yeah.
would have had to all go for bonds.
Got
for
it.
the ticket stock. And then you have nothing, right?
Okay.
So it has, now what am I going to do? So when I was younger, I went to art school. So I said, I think I'm going to go to floral school. I went to floral design school and I loved that, because the travel agency now went out the window. Even though I had the degree, that was the end of that.
So the barrier to travel was just the amount of money it took to get into the business.
Yeah, because the money,
Yeah, no, that's a real
brick and
thing.
mortar, no nothing. It would all have been that paper stock.
Okay.
Okay. So now I go to floral design school. Oh, I thought that was great. I loved it. So that time, Houston was booming, and my husband's family was in Houston, Texas. So why don't you move to Houston? Move to Houston and open a florist. So we opened a flower shop. It was great. I had no business training. I had no nothing. All I had was 6 weeks of floral design school. He had none, but he was going to be the delivery driver. And we said, let's just do this. And it's kind of like, I think, in any artsy industry, if you have it in you, you have it in you, right? So I did the art school when I was a kid. I did a lot of that. So the floral design came easy to me. So open a flower shop. So that was great. We plugged along. We had our flower shop almost 9 years. And then the oil industry went kaput in Texas. And everything went boom, right?
What year was this?
This was about 9 years. So this
9
was
years.
almost 90, maybe the end of 80s. And so we said, now what are we going to do? Because flowers are a luxury now, right? They're not a product you buy every day. People have to keep their money for food and so forth. So we got out of the floral business. So now what are we going to do? So I took a temporary job in banking because you're like, you got to get a job. So they took me in this job doing mortgage backs, dividends and stock dividends, working with numbers. I hated it. I just hated it because it was no interaction really with people, right? It was learning the computer.
Right.
That was very important, but I didn't know that at that time. So I did that for a while and learned numerics, transpositions, all the things with numbers.
10 key?
Absolutely, 10 key by 10. That takes our age back. So I learned that and I said, okay, so now I'm in doing stocks and bonds and mortgage backs and all this stuff for a period of years. And now my family, as I said, from Los Angeles said, well, why don't you move here? They were already in Vegas. Moved to Vegas, it's booming because Houston now is not booming, right? Because now I'm doing this other thing. I said, okay. So we moved to Vegas. My husband and myself had one child at the time. Moved to Vegas. And he went into doing security work at the time it was the Hilton, now the Westgate. And I sent a letter to every single chapel in town because I said I want to be in the floral wedding business.
Oh, makes sense.
And why? Why? Because you see all the things on television, right? I saw all these things at Little White Chapel, all these TV shows. I'm like, well, I want to do that. I can get in there with florals, right?
Okay, fair.
So I sent a letter to all the chapels. And this is going back, right? You go through the yellow pages, you find the name, the address, and you mail the letters. Okay, so I did
You use
all
a typewriter or do you handwrite them?
Yeah, you handwrite them.
Handwrite them?
Oh, my God.
Okay.
So you write all that, you send this, and you have all this experience because you had your own flower shop, blah, blah, blah. Then I had the money component, again, from the bank, doing all those mortgage backs.
Right.
So besides sending those letters, I went to every human resource department of every hotel. At this time, you could pull in, you find the office, you open the door, and there's tables, and all the jobs are posted in these on the wall.
Okay.
And you look and see what you're qualified for, and you do an application, turn it in. So I did that for the money, like working in the cage.
Cashier
right?
stuff.
Cashier, cage, whatever. So now I got all that out. I did that. It took a week. 1 week, I did every hotel on the Strip. It was every day, about 6, 7 hotels. But again, it was easier then. You're going back now 35 years. Right?
Yeah, you got to hike 2 miles to get to anywhere in a casino anymore.
Yeah, and the office is not like that anymore, right? Nothing is. No. So, okay, so I do that, and I send the chapel stuff out. So I got hired. I got called for Little White Chapel.
Okay.
I took that job. Okay, I was all excited. I'm going to Little White Chapel. And the first day at that job, I was like, oh my God, nobody would believe what's going on here. I mean, 10 weddings at 4 o'clock, all these things that didn't make any sense to me, right? Because at this time I just got to Vegas, and I certainly don't know how Vegas works. And people, can you imagine 10 weddings at one time?
So you went from like a traditional business where people come in and purchase things and there's a nice flow to it to...
Chaos.
Chaos.
And people pounding on counters, and I'm mad, 10 weddings at 4 o'clock. I'm like, what is going on here, right? And now I was in the floral department, okay? So at the same time, I get a call from Maxim to do casino audit. So I take that job for casino audit.
Okay.
Boring. We were working on Lotus, entering everything I had to audit all day. You're hoping you find a mistake because otherwise you're just looking Caribbean stud, bingo. Okay, but it gave me the numerics again, right? So now I got the floral, I got the numerics, all of this is happening. Now I take a job, another floral job at Victoria's Chapel. So I'm at Victoria's Chapel, Little White Chapel, and the Maxim, 3 different jobs, because none of them feel like home, right? I'm like, none of this feels like this is where I want to be. So I keep looking through the RJ, again, going back through the newspaper to find a job.
Okay.
I found a wedding consultant job, wedding coordinator job, at Harrah's Hotel. I said, oh, I can do that. I've never done that, but I can do that.
Because it had floral involved.
Correct.
Right? And you knew
Correct.
so you're like, I can do that.
I can do
Whatever
that,
it is,
right?
whatever other. Okay.
Okay,
I like
so
that.
I go there, I go for the interview. And the young lady that I interviewed with, this is during whatever basketball playoff season are, because she was from Phoenix, and she says, "I'm really sorry, I can't get back to you for a day or two because she's a Phoenix Suns fanatic, and they were in the playoffs."
Got it.
Okay, I'm like, oh, this is really crazy. Okay, so she calls me back after this process and hires me. So now I quit all 3 jobs.
Okay.
And take the job at Harrah's as a wedding coordinator / florist. First day in there, they sit me down at this desk, 23 weddings, and I said, "Oh my God, this is nuts. I don't have a clue where to do. You didn't teach me. Where's the credit card machine went? Nothing." I said, halfway through the day, she comes through and says, "You know what? I got to give you credit. If you've stuck with me this long, you can do this." I'm like, yeah, okay.
What, like an 8-hour shift?
The 8-hour shift, not knowing anything where anything is.
Just smiling.
Just smiling.
Yeah.
We're here. We're checking in for our 4 o'clock wedding. Yeah, okay. So
That's where your people person skills came in, didn't it?
Yeah, and common sense.
Yes.
Common sense. So I got through that day and I thought, oh, I like this better than the floral.
Okay.
So she hired me and I said, this is great. So I was one of 2 wedding coordinators there. We had 2 coordinators, 2 florists, and then everybody else was outsourced.
Okay.
Well, then what happens? I said, this is great. This is my home. I'm going to stay here. Everything was great. They came through and said, we're getting rid of the wedding chapel, taking it out. Are you kidding? I was there. I came in year 2, and they were only open 2 years. So I came into year 1.
Okay.
And then by year 2, they said, we're closing it. It's where the
Wow.
porte cochere is now at Harrah's.
Okay.
So the chapel was over there.
So you come by this wedding planning humbly, and then you're there, and they close it. Now what happens?
So one of our officiants says, I'm opening a chapel. Now I was pregnant with my 2nd son.
Okay.
And he says, I want you to go with me. He come in with the pictures on a napkin, and I'm like, okay, he's measuring, he's doing all this. And I said, okay, all right, I'll consider that. And all the people that I was working with at Harrah's, the Elvis and all the people that would come in.
Right.
That sounds crazy when you say that. They were all saying, I can help get you a job. I can help get you a job. Everybody was trying to help. I had people because of relationships, right?
Right.
So I had all these opportunities, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. One of them was at the Tropicana Chapel. So many opportunities. But I said, and the money was good for the opportunities. But I said, no, I'm going to go with this opportunity with a brand new facility opening. The money was not comparative to anything else, but I have a feeling about it, and I could grow with it, and I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
And I did. So I went with that. So now my 2nd child was born April 30th, and August 31st opened Special Memory Wedding Chapel. At the time, it was called Precious Moment, but now it's a Special Memory. So I opened that, and so the officiant we had was the owner.
Okay.
He hired me at Harrah's, and so when I accepted the job, I had the opportunity to watch it being built from the first shovel of dirt all the way up.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and when you have an opportunity like that from day one, it's a blank canvas, right?
Yeah.
So opened the chapel August 31st. It was great. It was great because I started as coordinator and went to chapel manager, then to executive manager.
Right.
And we could do, because there was no corporate, because we weren't in a hotel, we had many filmings, we had music videos, and we never had to say no. And he gave me free reign to do what I wanted. And it was great. Creation, why don't we change this? Let's create that. It was great. So then 9 years later, they decided to sell. The owner started to sell. But I had made a lot of relationships during the time in town. When I first got here, people said this is a relationship town, and of course, that didn't mean anything to me.
Right.
And it is absolutely a relationship town.
Relationship town.
And so when they decided to sell, I'm like, well, I'm not going to do this anymore because I felt I had the best opportunity, right, of opening a place from the ground up.
Yeah, now it's time to be an entrepreneur.
Right. Well, so we had a Tom Jones impersonator that was fabulous, and he said, my wife.
Who's Tom Jones?
It was Harmick. Harmick was amazing. I haven't seen him for quite a while.
Okay.
But so his wife Sherry was doing all of their business, and they never had a person that they hired.
Okay.
But he says, I really would like you to do work for us and do what you did for Special Memory for us. Okay. Now,
you built it and they sold it, so you obviously did something correct.
Right. Okay. So now go back. Remember the entertainment business that I came from my parents. Now it's coming full circle to entertainment, right?
Okay.
So during that time, I said, that's something I would be interested in that. Okay. in that time, I had somebody going to a very good friend of mine, colleague at the time, still very good friends now, went to a job interview at the Riviera. And she's at this job interview thinking it's whatever it is. And they call me and they say, this isn't, Joni, this isn't job, isn't it for me, it's for you. I'm like, I told you I'm not going to another wedding facility. Right. I said, okay, because you referred me in relationships, I'll go. I went and I interviewed with the Riviera, which was not owned by the Riviera, was privately owned. So I was working directly with the owner.
Ah, the good old days of Las Vegas.
Absolutely, right? Went to an interview that was ended up to be like 5 hours, lunch and everything with Linda. She was amazing. She said, and now mind you, I told you I didn't want this, right? So she says, what do you want for me to hire you for this job? So I picked all these erroneous things in my mind. Well, I want to work from home. I want this. I want insurance. All these things. And she said, okay. Oh boy, now I got stuck into another wedding chapel. Okay. And she did something that was totally incredible, which I'm going to share part of it, not all of it, but I will share. Uh-huh. When she asked me my salary, what I wanted, and I took this figure out of the air, she actually said, okay. She said, okay to it, and then actually paid me up front then and there that day half of the salary, which I walked out of there saying, I don't understand, this is incredible, but she checked my relationships, my references, everything that she had learned about me.
She wasn't going to lose you.
And she told me I couldn't tell anybody that for a long time. And I never told anybody for years. And I was like, wow, you just met me and you did this, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so I'm going to give you the best I got. So I worked for her for almost a year, okay, and I had to work from home. I came in. She wanted me to turn the whole photo department around. I did that. We did many things.
Okay.
And then she says, I really need you to be here all the time. And I'm like, but then I'm not going to be your marketing tool out in the community, which is what she needed because she was an owner that was not around.
Right.
I said, you need me out in the community with the tourism organizations, all the things I did for Special Memory, because that's what she wanted too. I want you to do what you did for Special Memory for me.
And we're talking about you have now worked at all of the most famous, recognizable wedding chapels in Las Vegas, right?
And I worked at two. Well,
but the Little White Wedding Chapel is like the most famous one, isn't it?
It is. So is it Little White? Yes, most famous, correct. Little White, Victoria's, and Harrah's. So now I'm at the Riviera, which had its own history in itself, right? The hotel.
Yeah.
So when she wanted me to start coming in, and I said, well, I'm not going to be good in your marketing then because I'm not out in the community. So it was a mutual discussion that I said, well, then I'm going to leave this position, but I'm not leaving you till a year because in my mind I made a commitment. And there was no contracts, there was no paperwork, there was no nothing for anything.
The good old handshake days.
Yeah. And so I knew I had to give her a year because, remember, she gave me half of the year up front.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now what am I going to do when I leave there? I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't know. I didn't want to do this to begin with, remember? So then all these other wedding people start talking to me, all these other chapels. Dave Foote actually offered me a job at Chapel of Flowers, and they were a great family. They had that second or third generation in that chapel.
Nice.
But so anyhow, one thing led to the other, and now I had been divorced for a while. And now I'm in the dating world. So I'm dating this gentleman, and this is all going on. And he says, I said to him, what do you think we should do? Because I said we, even though it was a short meeting time, we weren't together that long.
Right.
Well, why don't we start a wedding company? And I'm like, okay. So we did pros and cons. And started LV Wedding Connection. like, I can do this. I have all the tools. I have all the people.
Yeah.
So we started LV Wedding
Connection.
This was LV Wedding Connection in January is going to be 20 years old.
20 years.
20 years.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks. So we started that.
So that was a long trip from California to Texas to Vegas through all the different pieces, and you've watched Vegas grow. That puts you over here over 30 years in Vegas.
About 35 years.
About 35 years.
But you know what is interesting? In the fact of banking, floral, travel, all of what I've done is all relevant to what I'm doing now. It all came in to play. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's almost as if it was kismet, right? Some things are just meant to be, and you end up landing where you're supposed to be, maybe not where you thought you'd be. I'm finding that more and more as life goes on.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer of the universe directs us.
Yeah.
When you first start your career, you might chase certain things. Now I've learned all these years I don't chase it. If it's meant to be, it is.
Yes.
And just leave it be.
Yes.
So fast forward. So we started LV Wedding Connection, and we were doing PR for the wedding industry. So I was representing about 5 chapels. Okay. Each one had their own niche. So as far as I was concerned, there's not competitiveness.
And when you say representing the chapels, you're connecting the people who want to get married to the right place to get married.
Exactly.
Okay.
And providing things like doing trade shows and all the B2B stuff I was doing for the one.
Right.
They didn't have anybody doing that. So I was doing it as the LV Wedding Connection is the umbrella. Yeah. And then I had 5 people, if you will, under that, right?
Right.
So I did that before we actually did weddings. So the LV Wedding Connection was doing that about 2 years before we went into the actual wedding lane and say, well, we should do weddings because we have all the tools. And
people like you. And you get things done.
Well, that's true. That is true. You got to mean what you say and say what you mean. I have a firm believer on that.
Yeah, that was one of the things I think I noticed working with you at the transportation company. And you remember my partner Steve, who was a big part of that. Was a big part of that customer service stuff, right? Like
absolutely.
We delivered.
Yes.
And you were one of the companies that delivered as well. And it's always good doing business with people who do what they say they're going to do. And I just remember you were always in the middle of it.
Always.
You were on it.
Always. I think my best. Sometimes you say, what do you feel you like the best, or what do you do the best? I like the operations because I guess that's a control, right? You got control of what's going to happen. But you've got to trust your partners that they're going to come through. And all these years later, yes, I trust our team, right? But what I like to do is talking to the customers and hearing what they have in their mind, bringing that out to fruition, right? And then that's the reward. The reward is not a thank you. The reward is like you were able to get what they want to see. And look at the emotion in these people's face. Yeah,
you make a good point. That was what the graphics business or the printing world was for me as well. Is you could create something on a screen. Someone could say, "I want this." You could create it on a computer, print it off a machine, ultimately drive by the building and see it on the side. There's something to that, right?
There is something to that. When you're standing there at a wedding, right, and because many of the weddings I go to facilitate a piece. When you're standing there and that young lady, you're the last person that she's seeing because you're sending her down the aisle, right? And she's looking at you, and I've had to walk some of them down the aisle because they're afraid, they're crying, and even though you just met them, because we don't meet most of these people until day of or day before, your human emotions and attachment. You feel for them. You see them. You see the happiness, the sadness. You see all of these things, but you're in a happy business. And to see somebody to say, I'm changing, I'm in a life-changing moment, and I get to share that.
Right.
Every day. I asked, when I was teaching at CSN, I asked the students, how many of you have been to a wedding this year? And many people say, yes, I have. I haven't, right? And I asked them, so how do you feel when you go to a wedding? What did you feel? The last wedding you went to, what did you feel like?
The last one I went to was actually awesome. It was I didn't think I was going to be there. It was a bunch of high school friends that I hadn't seen since high school. So I felt nostalgia. I felt a lot of things. And just that energy.
So imagine I get to feel that every day.
Fair.
Every event I do.
Touche. Fair. You picked the right job.
I picked the right job.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So number one, we both wore purple today, which I think was amazing. And that was not planned.
No, it wasn't planned, but purple's my color.
Isn't that great? Now I'm going to try and make it my color with you too.
Oh, I love that.
I want to talk about some of the things that I noticed and let you comment on them that I think were amazing. Number one was your team building ability and the way you took care of your team. Like I said that earlier, you probably take care of your guests that same way. Decorating of hotel rooms in Las Vegas. Is this a service that you offer?
It is. But I'm very happy to say I have this service, and I'm just as happy to say I have a team member who does it. Yeah.
So tell me how that works. Someone calls and say, I want. Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's very trendy.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So and it can be for any occasion. It can be for birthday. I want my room decorated. We're going out for dinner tonight. And so the customer calls, and we find out the occasion and what they want, right? We have several samples, of course, you can customize. Right. And you'll meet with the client. They'll give you the key. You go up and you decorate the room, leave the key on the desk when you leave. And when they come in, woo, right? Now, it can be birthday. We'll do a proposal package with somebody. Maybe they're going even to Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And we'll do the room that says she said yes. So when they come back or he said yes, come back and the room is decorated.
This is something I've never heard of, and I've been in Vegas for 30 years, and I got remarried. I got married in Vegas at the Little White Wedding Chapel, and I had our vows renewed at the Cosmo.
Okay.
And I've never heard of this, but so I want people to know about this, that you can have your room decorated however you want. I saw petals out towards the balcony with the flowers. Yes. Amazing.
Petals. Okay, so what's popular? Petals, balloons.
Yeah.
Certain properties, no Mylars. MGM properties, no Mylars because they have problems with
environmentally.
That.
Yeah.
Again, you have to know the rules, right?
Yeah.
Letters, big 3-foot LED letters, big, that say "Marry Me" in the room. We did one in Spanish in a suite at Wynn, which in Spanish it's a lot of letters.
Yeah.
It's a lot of letters. But marry me, happy birthday. I mean, and everybody has an idea, but a little different. Yours is different, Sometimes the decorated room turns into a private proposal. So now you have a violinist and a photographer in this decorated room.
Right.
So everyone is different. It could be an after the event. It can be inclusive of the event. It could be the event in there. Maybe they're having they're in a suite and they're having 10 people in there for get together, and then they want the room decorated. So there's many facets to that.
Okay, that's something I think everyone needs to know. Your relationships are the Purple Restaurant. You light things up into like any color. You'll turn something into any color you need.
Oh yeah.
Pink, purple, green. Yeah. Like the entire restaurant was a certain color.
Yeah, but I love purple the best.
Yeah, I see now why. So lighting a restaurant up. The old cars.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so okay. So for transportation, as we worked together before, it's important with our clientele because you can have a party of 2 or you can have a party of 42, right?
Right.
And everybody, just like the events, has a different idea. Some of them want a Lamborghini. Some of them want classic caddies. Yeah. And so you have to have a partner that has these. And now we have many transportation partners because some have old Rolls Royces and others have old caddies.
As I was rebrowsing through your Facebook again, I was coming across stuff and I realized when you work in Vegas and events, you meet a lot of people. You're very well connected. You know everybody in town, and scrolling through the Facebook again and seeing where you've put on weddings, the products that you've had at weddings, the resources that you've provided. I mean, all the way out to Chattuck Mine and doing photo shoots out there. You really do know where to place somebody. If they're coming here looking for something specific, you know how to get them there and you have the resources to do it.
And that is true. But it's always very important to talk to that client, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to give them what I want. I want to give them what they want. Let me hear what it is you want and let me make the suggestions because I'm boots on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And you might have an idea to go to X location. X location is not going to work for what you want.
Right.
We have people wanting all this big setups during F1 in front of Bellagio. Not going to work.
It will, but you're going to have to pay the F1 bill and then your wedding bill.
Yes. So, knowing where to go and to make it happen.
Okay. So tell me about this Las Vegas sign tattoo.
What Las Vegas sign tattoo?
Somebody on your page.
Okay. Oh, right. Our French clientele.
Yes.
They get that actually more than not.
Stop it.
They'll get the Vegas sign. They'll get it sometimes here, sometimes down on your ankle. I got to tell you, our international people, we have an office over in France.
Okay.
And our international people from France, when they come over, they are so wowed by being, think of this, they're wowed by being in the United States.
Right.
They're wowed to be in Vegas, and they're getting married here. So they're overwhelmed with so many things. And they even have Vegas sometimes engraved in their rings, in the inside of the ring.
Wow.
They really love it. And when you take them to places, they love the Arts District. They love the things like in Nelson, Valley of Fire, all these beautiful things, as
Right.
well as the Strip. They are just wowed when they see these. They're just like, and they say it. Their eyes are big like a little kid, and they say, "This has been a dream." If somebody tells you this has been a dream, you take that and digest it and say, wow, how can I continue this dream for these people to make everlasting memories?
So beautiful. All right. Your photographers, I just want to note, you have some amazing photographers. So
thanks.
if anybody's ever coming to town and wants photographers, call Joni.
And can I say
promise
something
you.
about that?
Please do.
You know what's important about having a team? A team is that there's different kind of photographers.
Yeah.
Some do great with elopements. Some do great with big groups. Some photographers are not the interactive. They wouldn't be with a couple because they wouldn't be an interactive photographer. So you've got to know your people.
True. I've hired photographers in the past, and I can see what you're saying because, again, some are good at outdoor, some are good at indoor, some have visions, some just want to be told what to do. They all vary. So
Right.
you have a eclectic team of people that you know exactly where they fit and how they fit, and you get to match them with the right couples.
Match them with the scenario. Exactly.
That's great. All right. Tell me, what is this AOHT? I want to talk a couple things. But the AOHT, what is that?
Academy of Hospitality and Tourism at Valley High School,
Okay.
which I've been on the board for many, many years, and it's supporting the students.
Right.
So to get into that program, there's not a lot of seats, and this is a magnet program, and they're learning about tourism. They have many classes. We go in and do speaking engagements. We do field trips. We do a lot of things with them.
Okay.
And these are the students that want to get into hospitality.
That's what that was. Okay, that makes more sense now. I saw a picture of that. So to that, and just to clarify, let's go back to the beginning. You said your mother and your father were here in Vegas.
They moved
They
here,
moved here to Vegas.
Yeah.
Is it true that your father worked for Jerry Lewis at some point?
My father did work for. Actually, I was named after Jerry Lewis. My middle name is Lynn, because my dad worked for Jerry Lewis when I was born, and that was in 1962. Needed help financially, and Jerry Lewis was kind enough to pay my hospital bill. So I found out.
My uncle Skip, who's passed away, may he rest in peace, he played with Fast Nominal and Jerry Lee Lewis here in Vegas all the time and worked up at Boulder City. Skip Hastings.
Wow.
He was my favorite uncle of all time. I actually lived
that's
with him for a little bit.
amazing.
But when I saw the Jerry Lewis connection, I was like, get out of
Well,
here.
so we go back to that entertainment thing that I talked about at
Yeah.
the beginning. My mom was Nancy Sinatra's private assistant. So when I was a kid, I came up to Vegas a lot. That was in 1969, so I was 7.
Okay.
And when Nancy was appearing at that time, it was called the International Hotel, which now is Westgate. So
Right.
Nancy would perform, and I would come. My mom and I would come up. My mom would be here for 6 weeks at a time, and I would go to the youth hotel every day downstairs.
And so I'm assuming Nancy Sinatra was related to Frank Sinatra in some fashion.
Oh, yeah, the daughter.
Was the daughter. Okay.
The daughter, yeah, the
It's like,
daughter.
I didn't
One
know
of
his
the daughters.
wife.
Tina is the other daughter.
Tina's the other daughter.
Yeah.
Man, the old Vegas. Some people just
Yeah.
love this. Okay. You have the Nevada Wedding Association. What is this?
So, yes and no. I had the Nevada.
Okay.
When I say I let it go.
Okay.
So that was founded. Oh wow, that's probably when at the beginning of LV Wedding Connection, probably.
Okay.
It was something that I founded when, at that period of time, weddings were not being promoted as well as they are now.
Okay.
And I was like, I really want to get this. When we would see that pie chart, and it would say, tours, attractions, gambling, blah blah.
Weddings.
Were never in there, and I'm like, that's why.
Okay.
So through tourism relations
Right.
and grant programs, we had a grant to start the Nevada Wedding Association.
Got it.
And what that meant was I was the Vegas person, and then we had people from other parts of the state. So we had a Reno Tahoe rep.
Got
we
it.
had like 5 people.
Okay.
And of course, Vegas had the predominantly work
Yeah.
of it all. But we did that, and we did things about putting some new laws into the wedding industry.
Mm-hmm.
When there was some problems down at the courthouse, we had that done. This is
Right.
going back quite a bit of years. And then it kind of petered out. Everybody went their own way, and I was the only one left here. And I was like, okay, so I'm a one-man show now. It's not really necessary to keep that going.
Right. That makes sense. I get that. All right. And then do you remember the pop-up wedding chapel that happened at the Cosmo?
Yes. Yes, I remember that.
We renewed our vows there, my wife and I. It was the most fun I've ever had in my own town.
What made it fun for you?
We stayed at Aria. Cosmo was just across the way. It was at the front of the building with the glass walls. Everybody was standing on the strip watching. We were young, and I was still, I was young. My wife is beautiful as ever. And the pictures from it were amazing. The whole concept, all of our friends came. The nightclub marquee was up top. Everything was just right there. And I think a few of my friends ended up playing the Hangover movie that night. Like, it was that experience, and I'd lived here forever. Is there a reason they don't have that sort of thing middle of the strip anymore? Is that a possibility?
I think it's just like anything. You see pop-up things of different natures, all of different industries.
Yeah.
I think it just, whoever the person is that wants to have it, maybe it just hasn't come back yet.
Oh, that was really fun.
But when you talk about being glass and everybody could see you, that's a certain kind of person that likes that, right?
Yeah.
It's like doing weddings at the Vegas sign.
That would be me, most likely.
Okay. When you're at the Vegas
That's
sign
why.
and you got, as our officiants like to say at the end of the wedding, you have 100 people here that weren't invited to your wedding, right? But everybody claps and woohoo at the Vegas sign. But that doesn't appeal to everybody. Some people are private. They don't like that. So,
we were young and wanted to be seen in all of our glory at that point.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, there are people that they love that. Yeah.
Okay.
They want to kind of, and the Vegas sign, is so historic. They want to be there.
Yeah. All right. I think a couple hard questions. Compared to 20 years ago, is Las Vegas do more or less weddings, like by the stats?
Okay. By the stats, less.
Okay. Do you see a way for that to turn around and become something more prominent like you were going for back then? Like to where it becomes the place to go get married again?
I think we're still the place to get married. We're still called the wedding capital.
Okay.
It's so easy to get married here.
Yeah.
Stats, okay, but stats say the numbers are down.
Right.
I will say the renewal of vows numbers is not inclusive of those stats.
Okay.
Because it's not a recorded document.
So the people that come here to renew their vows is not recorded, and that could be double what it ever was.
Yeah, right. You don't know the number.
Oh,
number on
that makes so much sense. Okay.
Yeah. But it's so easy to get married here.
Yes.
What we're seeing are people wanting more experiences. I think 20 years ago, many of the chapels, on a Saturday, it was nothing to have. When I was at Special Memory on a Saturday, we'd have 45 weddings. Some chapels would have, 65. That's a number you kind of have. How does that happen? But if you've got 4 locations on one property, you got 4 weddings going at the same time all day, right? You got to have transportation. It is very sequential and moving parts.
Yeah.
Transportation, officiants, photographers, florists for 4 weddings going at the same time all day.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So that is not happening anymore. However, I think the industry understands people are wanting more than a 15-minute experience at some places.
Right.
You still have the places that give you that, and that is a niche that still needs to be fulfilled.
Okay. Do you do a lot of outdoor? Do you find people looking for a lot of outdoor weddings like Red Rock or the mountains, or does it mostly focus on the strip?
No, we do. And our lane of weddings actually is mostly under 10 people.
Okay.
And I love the fact that we get those type of clients, Red Rock and Valley Fire, which those 2 areas necessitate permits to get married. So not every provider can provide that.
Right.
And that's important. Ethics is right on the top of my list. Ethics, you got to do it right. No sneaky stuff, but people love that backdrop. When you're in those backdrops, you don't need any other decor because that is the backdrop.
True. Very true. So you would argue, and I would probably back you, that either renewing your vows or getting married in Vegas is still extremely easy to travel to, cost-effective to stay in a hotel room. Wedding services, I've seen them in other cities. They're pretty expensive, I'm sure, still pretty cost-effective here. everything's available and all your friends can fly in too. So I would think that it would still be the place to get married.
It still is the place to get married.
Yeah.
People come with some weird ideas. When you say, what is your vision? They tell you these things and you're like, okay. But it may sound weird, but there's always a reason why.
Yeah.
And you always want to know. I always ask, can I ask why you chose Batman costume for, you
Right.
want to know. But there's always, as a matter of fact, today we had a wedding at noon at Denny's on Fremont. People love going to Denny's because maybe that was their first date. Right?
Makes sense.
People want things that mean something to them. So it's not really weird. It's just creative, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's for them to each their own, right?
To each their own.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and then Vegas, we have everything. Restaurants galore. If not the traditional banquet dinner after a wedding,
Right.
going to these amazing restaurants and all the properties that we have.
Right.
And then you talk about adventure. We've got helicopters landing in the Grand Canyon doing weddings. You have helicopters landing at Valley of Fire doing weddings. So you have that kind of adventure for people as well. Where else can you get married in the pod, on the high roller? I mean, we have everything.
That's great. All right. Well, you're amazing.
Oh, well,
You're always
thanks.
so full of energy.
Thanks. Well, I think you're going to agree with this. If you love what you do, it's not work. And we've all heard that, and we can agree to that.
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Yeah.
So if you're coming to Las Vegas, everybody just needs to know Chad Taylor supports Joni, Las Vegas Wedding Connection, all the socials. I'll put them up on the video for you so that everybody has them.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the world? Because, this is just the Vegas podcast, but someone around the world could see it. If they're coming to Vegas, what would you like to say? Is there anything you'd like to say to somebody coming into Vegas?
Wow. I'd like to say we can help you. We can help you with whatever ideas you have, from weddings to proposals to commitment ceremonies. And then we cross over the tourism side and we do private tours, itinerary building, nothing to even do with the romance side. And it makes sense because it all crosses over.
Right. And you handle it from start to finish.
Yeah, that's the best, right? And people like that. They like that they're dealing with one person back and forth and not keeping up with several.
There's a lot of things that can go wrong. And if I have one person I can lean on, I can imagine the stress that puts on somebody. You are a strong person to be able to handle that. I tell you that.
Well, thanks, Chad.
I appreciate you very much. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
And love is love, right?
True. I agree with you there.